So basically the task is going to be this, which is I'm working on the Bitcoin Moses website, and I'm also just going to go up to here. Let's get a live cast. I'm working on a Bitcoin Moses website, and I've got a couple of charts that are in here, and you can see the number of trades. This chart isn't amazing, but it's good enough. We can see the number of trades gets to like 17,500. And really what needs to be done is to have a separate chart, because now that the numbers are quite large, we can't see, if, for example, how many trades we've done in the past week or the past month, because the scale is just so large. So I want to get effectively a separate chart that can do this, and I'm just going to actually share this link to, I'm going to try and share this link to a feed, so to some social medias, just to see if anyone else can contribute on here. So let's just go to Twitter. Here we go. I'll launch up the Twitter app and let's just post the live feed into that. So live on YouTube now, and I'll post the link. Right, so maybe people join, but ultimately what I've got to try to achieve or get to is something that should be relatively straightforward if it's broken down into different compartments. And if I open this up here, really what I want to have is some kind of Python dictionary. So look something like this effectively, where we have a month key, and then there'll be some number like 500, and then there'll be a, I hate the capitalizations by the way, but they're there. Oops, that's been a month, right? And then there will be, let's put a comma in at least. I'm not going to put all of the quotations and everything in. And then there will be a week version, which will be, the same thing. Maybe there's 175 trades in a week, or maybe that's too much because divided by 4. But let's say 85 trades a week in the last week. And then we'd have a certain number of trades per day. So that might be something like, I don't know, you did 15 trades in a day, and then something like the number of trades per hour. So, which maybe even 0 trades per hour, because we didn't do any trades in the last hour, we did some in a day. So a Python dictionary that basically contains something like this, and also potentially if I go there, because we want to know when this was recorded, so some kind of timestamp, which would contain the date and also the time, like this basically. So some sort of date and time that was plotted on the chart. So ultimately I want to try and get a chart, if I can draw it, that will, let's see, close on that. Just want to also check if any comments do come in. There's no one viewing it at the moment, but if anyone does come in with comments on the docs, I can see the little chat there. So I'll put a hello over there in the chat just to see if it pops up, and yes it does. That's all fine, it's all good and working. So really I don't know exactly what's available, but I've got an idea of sort of what I would like to achieve on the charts and where we need to get to. But something like this, so imagine that this is our chart. Probably want to have something here where we've got our timestamp. Right, so that's just some kind of label on the charts at some point. And then also, I imagine maybe this would be quite nice if it's available. I'm going to attempt to use matplotlib for this, but something like this, which is just color this in, so kind of like maybe even different color circles, but this is for the month over here. So maybe I should even put like some text strings down below. Let's click on that out of there and do. Right, so we've got the month, and I can copy this and paste it and move that across. I guess we're going to get the idea here, F2, which is the week. So again, we can copy and paste it, and then something like the day. right? And finally copy and paste something like the, now, so it's a very crude looking chart, but basically something like this. And these circles will copy paste this. They'll be concentrically smaller because if the circle size does fit, I don't know if this is possible or not, so I'm going to have a look at it and just see. I'm going to browse through the matplotlib. I'm going to try as best I can to implement something, but that will be there. Paste this one over here. So in a day we've got much fewer. Maybe it comes straight out of the box. Sometimes matplotlib works really well, you know, straight out of the box, and it all works and does everything you want. And then sometimes it doesn't. I could do a bar chart. Maybe I'll revert to a bar chart or something else. I'm also thinking of plotting like histories. So if this one was 0, it kind of like literally have no size, I guess, or tiny little thing. And inside of all of these, that last one looks like an ellipse, but whatever. We might have a number in there. So again, copy paste this, and that will be a number over here. So 500. And then here, paste this one, 500 trades in the month, and we did 85 trades in the week, and then we do probably this number at a certain point. When it gets too small, we'll go out. So this is 15, and then finally here, this one is going to be, and I wonder like if it's even going to be outside of it or above it maybe. But this one will be 0. So kind of like just see what we can get achieved. And this is going to be, the attempt for doing this is going to be in matplotlib. Okay, matplotlib. The reason why is just because I've used it a few times. I know that it's got like some sort of capability that will at least get us close to this type of thing. So that's basically what I want to get. So I'm going to set about doing this, and then I'm going to export it into, because I'm going to use real data, and I'm going to publish an additional chart somewhere here into the website. So the first thing to do, and I've got everything kind of like Landly up and running, which is I'll do +++, everything's a bit bigger. So there we go, so that we can see all of that. So basically what I want to have is something like our, we'll just call it data, right? Just keep it very generic at this point in time, and it's going to be a dictionary, and the dictionary is going to contain the hour, or, yeah, we can do it in any order that we like. So the hour, which is going to, you know, have some kind of number there, and then, in fact, I wonder if I should just do a dict type, because I might be passing it in, which is just basically very, very similar to this, but I'll just do data equals and then a dictionary. And the reason why is that we can do hour equals and then something like hour, and imagine that somewhere in our code previously, it's all going to amount to the same thing, but we've got hour equals 0 somewhere here. So, you know, we're going to feed this into the dictionary. Now we could feed it into the old classical dictionary. They're both kind of like the same, but let's do it this way. So hour equals hour, day equals day, and again we'd have to have a day thing here. So day, imagine that was, I don't know what number I said before, but let's say it was 15 in a day, and then week equals how many trades we had in a week. I think I said 85, and then the month. You know, that'd be more than sufficient to get an idea of trading frequencies. So trades in the month. So days day, and then week equals week, and finally month equals month over there. So we can call all of our items from the dictionary like this. So we can just say data dots, and I imagine, oh no, not like that, but basically data, I guess, hour, day, month, week. It's the same thing as a classic dictionary, whatever. We can choose either. This looks quite nice this way. So Also, maybe we could put the timestamp in the dictionary too. That might make sense to do that. So timestamp is equal to and some sort of date time thing. So something like that. And where would our timestamp come from anyway? Let's just do that. Our timestamp here would have to do either import time or import date time. So I think I use date time a lot. Date time as dt, and then something like the timestamp. Let's just copy this out. Timestamp, paste it over there. Timestamp equals dt dot date time dot now. At least I know this little bit of it. I think it'll be now. At least I allege I know it. But I think we want to do the strf time. I'm quite sure that it's this one, which will convert it into. In fact, I might take some of that as well, because that looks quite useful. That's what we want. That this function, and we want to convert it into this kind of time thing here, which is a day, month, year. But actually, the way that I'd like to do this is, might make this one smaller. Let's have a look. Control minus on that. Yeah, just so that we've got sufficient lines of code in there. That the year component would be first. So X that out and paste it over here. The month component would be next. So X this one out, remove the backslashes. So we've got the month and then dash the day component. Last, I paste the day in there. And just to check this out now, I guess we could actually print data. Right, and just kind of like, I'm going to run it in the interactive thing, which runs over here on this side. So in our little shell, if it's all working, run it, and we see our dictionary over there, kind of like all of this stuff there. So it's all kind of like working. I wonder if we can I'll do maybe a p-print or for key value in dictionary, just so that we can see them all listed out or something, because it's not. Just do this for now. Pretty print, and then we'll just do a pretty print of the data. I don't know if I have to like do an indent or something like that. Let's see if that does it differently. Okay, pprint.pp. I think it's run like that. So there we go, and then we can just see our data a little bit clearer. Let's just. The nice thing about doing the interactive thing is when you get this like error message coming up because you did some sort of typo, you didn't use the language correctly, the syntax correctly, you can just delete it. There we go, and that kind of like looks like at least a dictionary that we want to have in here. Now the next thing that we're going to have to do is to import matplotlib. Oops, have a typing right. Matplotlib dot py plot. So this is quite common as plt. You know, I might pass this into a pandas data frame, because sometimes a data frame, a dictionary going into a data frame, because you can print straight out the data frame. But for the moment, I kind of like leave it like that, but let's sort of like get some kind of chart going. And I've got to think about how we get this chart going, because, or what type of chart that we want to get, like how do we feed this in. So it's time to go over to our, well, I did have like, you know, this is from a previous video actually, so I've got the quick start thing, but basically there's a whole chart types thing here. I wonder, there we go, there's some circles. Is that going to be of any use? Well, that's kind of like a Venn diagram. I'm not sure we want a Venn diagram in that way, although we could, maybe a Venn diagram does suffice in the sense that It's got numbers inside of it, and then it's got the classifications outside. We just have a Venn diagram that isn't overlapped. Okay, so kind of let's have a look at this. We want a non-overlapping Venn diagram. There's also circular packing. I wonder what that one is. I'm just doing a little browse at the moment just to see what we have available. Let's see, circular. We don't want circular packing. That's not quite right. Well, that's quite an interesting one to have. It's just nice to have a look. But let's just try and get anything in here to start with. So we'll go with that. The Venn2 function of matplotlib underscore Venn. Okay, a Venn diagram. I wonder if I just go to matplotlib chart types. I'm just going to do this again, so because I don't want to, if I can avoid it, just stick with matplotlib rather than, because it looked like that needed another import. So I'm going to go to the examples here. So try again for the examples and see if I can find something down here that's suitable, which is a bunch of circles in some way. Look at these smiley faces they could have done. You know, maybe the Venn diagram was the right way to do it in a way. I'm just wondering if we can get circles on a matplotlib, because that would be quite nice to do. I don't see anything at this point in time, although I see lots of different circles, but they're more like circular patterns. Here's some circles, but how to set and adjust plots with equal aspects, and I mean, we could do 4 different plots like that, but I think it's much nicer visually to have, or it's much more intuitive for the user to be able to see this type of thing, like just a bunch of circles. You know, maybe I'll have to revert to that, as opposed to like looking at axes and stuff like that. Just literally a number in a circle, and the size of the circle being representative of the actual number that it contains. That's kind of like the most useful way of doing it. You know, maybe again the Seaborn package is another way of doing it. Pie charts. A pie chart isn't quite going to do it. I'm just thinking if pie chart, like if we could display in a pie chart in a useful way. Scatter plot. A scatter plot might actually do it in the sense that we're not going to have a polar axis scatter plot, but if we can get the points just to be of a certain size, that might be sufficient. So back, maybe just a line, in fact not a line plot, but like just a plot with dots on it. So this is a difficult thing about it, or not difficult, but choosing the right plot to demonstrate what you want to demonstrate relatively quickly. That seems to be quite easy, but actually ends up being a big chase me down of things that we've got to, that I want to try to do. Oh, what's this one? Donuts. MHM donuts. That's looking closer. There's so many of these, it's unbelievable. Possibly outside, see if you go inside, let's have a look. Because all the donuts of the same, because maybe I can remove the actual axes and change the colours and have a muck around with that. Now again, I notice here, okay, we've got NumPy. I presume the purpose of NumPy is for creating the data, whereas the data that we got is not going to be NumPy created. Matplotlib as mpath and mpatches as mpatches. Crikey, this is looking a bit right. I'm just wondering if copying and pasting all of this in here will give us something, and then I can amend all the stuff that I've got to fit this. So import NumPy MP donuts or something. Let's just take all of this code. And I'm going to go back, just have a little browse if there's anything else that's more simple, because what I want to plot is much more simplistic. Oh, what's this Gplot style? Let's have a look at that one. That's quite nice. But what is that one? Because that's the fourth chart in that. For I and I color, enumerate RC parameters. I think that I want axis 4 out of this, and that might be much more simplistic. So because what we have here is circle XY, the radius, which we define a radius, but I presume that I can set the radius to be an array with numbers in there, because color is equal to color here of color, and I might try this as a superseding version of it. So let's just see, because I think I can strip a lot of this out and just go to the fourth axis, equal to x.flat. Can I find something that's a bit better than this? I'm not sure. Are we done? X. Well, here's pie and polar charts as well over here. But pie charts and polar charts, they don't really do what we want. Pie charts, no, because that's just a bunch of pie charting things. Nested pie charts, but I think, no, that's not going to help us. I wonder if we could put the weekday, month. No, that's not really going to help us, although it's quite nice. Labeling a pie chart with a donut, with a pie chart. Scatter plot on polar axis. Okay, but we don't want that either. So text label. Infinite lines, simple plot. I wonder here if I can take a simple plot, because I only want 4 points on it. Remove the line color and make the points larger or smaller on a simple plot. So, because really that's what it is. It's kind of like remove the grid lines, remove everything. So that might be quite nice. Let's just see the specialty plots. Okay, there's nothing there as well. So I just want to go back one if I can. Going really back to basics here. Let's have a go at this then, which is, let's paste some of the code in it. We've got matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, so there's nothing for us to import then in that case in doing this. So I just do that, and from that this is going to be our data in our matplotlib. So let's have a look. I presume that's going to be our Y data, so our X data is going to be. So I wonder if this would just be, we might not even need a dictionary, but let's just do it. We'll have data right here, which is our first item, and that's going to be, for example, I guess we're going to do the hour first, then here will be data. Just wondering if it's an easier way of putting that into, because we could put it into a list really. So one of the things that we could do straight away is pass that into a list. So Y data, right? I know, because that's going to be the heights actually. So let's just get this done, and then we'll just amend it, I guess, because we'll go back to this 1 and 2 like that, because and we'll just print it, just get this working, I guess. We don't need the p print anymore for this because we know what our data looks like, but what we do want to get is we want to get everything horizontal, so I guess I could cheat or whatever, or put 1, 1, 1 and 1, because we've got our 4 points over there. They're our 4 horizontal points. And then we want to kind of like remove our axis. So I don't even know what this O-R means exactly. I think the dash means, is that the points with red lines? So what I'm going to do is just comment that out. I wonder if we just get points now. Okay, we don't. So we do want points in there. So I might start reverting to the Y label. We're not going to have a Y label per se. We don't want a Y axis. So whether or not I remove this or not, it's still going to have the sum numbers. Because I just removed the sum numbers, we're still going to have this number there. So we want a matplotlib, but actually, so we want this same chart. It's fine, but we don't want to show the data points. So let's just do. I'm going to now revert to something like I could look at the documentation, but I'm going to go to Google Bard, not Google Bard, I'm going to go to Claude AI, and in Claude AI I'm going to put something like remove, oh sorry, yeah, we'll actually how to remove axis and labels from matplotlib chart. Let's just see what gets thrown back. Everything's in big font here, so that is readable on the screen. Right, so we've got this same plot here, which is plot.plot. Okay, I guess it will be as simple as the X ticks and the Y ticks. So is it just as simple as that? The simpler I can keep it, the better. So try that, and we don't want some numbers over there necessarily. Just run it. Perfect. We've got that bit. Now we want to do the next component, which is to plot circles for the data points. I'm just going to plot circles for the data points, but afterwards I want to try and increase the size, or I could actually make it so that and make the size increase based on a list. I'll use a list for now because there's only 4 things in there. I don't need to be like super clever with it. I could do a dictionary based on a list. So something like that. So let's have a look. How to plot circles for data points. Okay. Yeah, that looks quite good here. I'm definitely taking that. Okay, it's doing lots of talking, but I kind of like know that I want to take this bit out, which is the sizes for each point. So I'm just going to tab across there, and I could kind of like even put it up here really, because that's where it belongs. So that's our list of sizes, and over here I'm just going to actually put in the hour. I wonder if I can do dot notation here. So data dot hour. No, it doesn't let me do it, but anyway, okay. Data dot hour is cleaner doing it like this. Data, and then day, and then data, and then month, and then finally also that I should have had week there. I'll just do the data, and then I'll take the week one over here. We don't need the timestamp one. The timestamp one we're going to have to use somewhere else, and this week one here will do an X of all of this to cut it out and put it in front of the month so that it's ordered in the right sequence. So that's now our data. We've got 4 sizes that are in there. Let's go back and have a look here. plot the circles. Okay, now it's got a fig ax dot subplots. Okay, we're going to have our x data and our y data. Okay, let's have our data points because I prefer it to be like this. So let's just do our data points now. This is a little bit cleaner for this. So our data points. In fact, our data points are probably the most important things. So let's make them go first. And we're only going to have 4 data points, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And for our y versions, we're going to have a 1, a 1, a 1, and a 1. And that means that we can kind of like use this formatting here, which is this plot the circles like this. And that actually might work, to be fair, straight off the bat. That's a scatter plot, which is not a line plot, because I was going to do a line plot without a line, but why not just do a scatter plot? That's more suitable. Perfect. So it looks like that, ax.scatter. So I think we can remove this. We don't want the x ticks and we don't want the y ticks. And we haven't got a label in there at the moment. And I guess just hit ax.scatter and then plot.show. Okay, we can set a title. There we go. Let's take this little bit. And that went after the remove axes as well. Anyway, and I should actually put that. Let's just, well, remove. So remove the axes, and then also over here we are going to set the title. Now I'm going to put this all into a function when I migrate it into the module, so it's all going to be self-contained. At the moment this is just run as a script over here. So I think that's kind of like it, and then just plot.show. I've got this label here in case we want a label. Let's just see what comes out. Ah, perfect. Look at that. We got a circle plot. And we want, you know, the name of our thing not to be circle plot, but to be number of trades. Now, for our x ticks, I'm just going to test this out, but basically we do want actually to have x ticks in here, or x labels is what we want to have in here. But I'm just going to test out. I'm going to put in 4. Because I imagine it might need 4 because there's 4 things. And over here, and I'm just going to go, it might not work, but let's just try it. A, B, C, and D. If it fails, it fails. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to fail. It doesn't take that, it doesn't like that. So, but we do want to have the X ticks now to be. Why did that one run like that? Okay, fine. Let's just. Okay, so it failed to convert values. So in some way it's there, right? We want our. Oh, okay, fine. Because we want our ticks. We want to have writing at the bottom or underneath it or something. I want to also like remove this square around it potentially. So I guess it's like I don't know if it's what it's called. It's probably like the frame. So this is looking good so far. How to remove the border. I'm just calling it the border of the plot. Okay, it's called the frames. It's recognized. Okay, there we go. Let's just copy code, if I can copy it quick enough before it does it. There's all these different features that I've got to implement piece by piece. I'm just literally piecewising it in. So something like this. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's run it. Yay, it works. So we're getting closer and closer. This is looking quite nice. Now we want to put labels. So how to add values to the data. So next thing we want to do is add values to the data. Because our values here, they're not our values. What we want to do is how to show the sizes basically. So because it remembers what we've done before, because it did that sizes thing above somewhere, wherever it was, over here, I'm going to put how to add the sizes to the plot. So how to add the sizes to the plot, question mark. Oh, I didn't mean to put that. I probably had to add the number of the sizes to the plot. So imagine we got the size. Let's see what it does anyway. Oh yeah, okay, fine. It looks like it might be doing that, which is this for I, comma text in enumerate sizes. So that might be suitable enough. Let's have a look. Or at least it's a start. So, and it tells us it's looping through the sizes. So I'll just put it here. Add sizes to the plot and paste that in here. And I think that might be good. Let's just see if we get numbers or what they look like. Yes, we do. Now our issue is this. Well, I think it might be okay if we change our color to be a different color, just so that this like dark blue doesn't go over this. So and also let's make our sizes here, whatever this was, let's make our size. I don't know if it's calibrating it or not. So, but let's make our sizes like much bigger. So let's like put times 10 over there and times by 10 over here and times by 10 over here and times by 10 for the last one. I don't know if this is going to be the right thing, but let's have a little look. Yes, it is. That's fine. Now, this one here is over the edge. So I'm just going to try and run it with an F5. So instead of looking in the interactive thing, because yeah, it is over the edge. But let me just run it without that for a second. So if I hit F5 to run it, this is going to run the matplotlib and sort of like in its own like chart. So it's just popped up here. But yeah, this one's going over the edge, so I'm going to need to sort that out too. So let's just put, we'll close that out, so that's fine. I'll hit clear over here because we don't really need this in our face. I was just checking if it wasn't just because of the interactive, and it's not. But we're making good headway. We want to change the color to something like orange. So let's ask our question in a nice way. I could be looking up all the documents, but it kind of is giving us everything so far that we need, and really make the circles, I guess, orange. I'm just going to say something like that. How to make the circles orange with a red border. There we go. It's been good so far. This Claude AI, and here we go in our scatter. Yeah, it's face color and edge color. I should have known that in a way. Like somebody who does a lot of well, when I'm in the zone, you know, I'm much better at it. But I can add these things to the scatter, so like that. And if you like, there's tons of things that you can put in a scatter plot. I'm just trying to hone in. So there we go. It's looking really good now. I want the chart to be slightly smaller, basically, so that everything fits in. So something like, I don't know how to. The thing about all of this, all of these large language models, is they work really well when you know what to ask. But if you're not sure what to ask, it might be a little bit harder. And actually, also, we've got the numbers, but we kind of want to have some more labels effectively down the bottom, which is the periods. So you want to have that as well. We also want to get the timestamp on there. So this is looking good. I've got to. It's going over the allocated time because I'm trying to do like tutorials, not tutorials, but like practices are a bit less in time wise. So this is massive progress because it's already very usable. I still need to do a couple of extra pieces, which is I need to get the timestamp over here somewhere. That's what I want to do, and I want to get the labels kind of like coming in over here just to say the week, the day, the month, the week, day, just so that anyone who's reading it can see what it is in an hour. So we've got number of trades per, and then whatever the unit is. And also I do want to shrink this so that kind of like it fits into something like this, so it doesn't go off the edge of the screen. Not the end of the world that it's going off the edge of the screen, but it'd be much nicer if it was in the screen. So, and I would have expected matplotlib to be in the screen, so it's a little bit disappointing that I have to do some configurations to get it in the screen, but that's so be it, c'est la vie. We've got quite far quite quickly, so just a little extra bit. And on that note, I shall sign off. And if you like this, if you found this useful, then thumbs up, like, follow. If you've got any other comments, because before I actually post the next part of it, or do the next bit where I do try to get the actual periods, the day, month thing, the labels basically, and sort of like arrange them or what have you. And there is one way of doing it that I've just thought of, which is actually what's it called, like a legend. So I could just do this very quickly, which is add a legend. I know, because a legend is for one series and just be one series, so I've got to be careful, but I could have potentially added a legend or something. But anyway, aside from adding a legend, I want to add a label with our date type thing. So if you've got ideas of how to complete it, kind of then put that in as well, which is basically the completion components will be that needs to be done, and these little bits over here need to be done. And if I can, on this, basically I've kind of like at the moment got my things shoveled across. So basically, how do you shovel that all back? So if you've got any comments on that for before the next video, that would be extremely useful. As I said before, like, follow, subscribe, all the rest of it, and forward it on to people. And comments are welcome too. So that's basically it. Thanks for watching.